Hello, sweet souls. It's DTO in the flow, wanting you to know that this is a 5Q interview podcast. And this is where I connect with visionary leaders, teachers, healers, and souls on a roll that are in their purpose, their dharma, and sharing gifts in the world. And before I kick it off, I'm excited because, as many of you know, I am recording producer. I've launched a series of albums, and some of you know me from my debut album, Nameless Energy, which then evolved into my sophomore album, which is 7 songs for 7 chakras. And today there's a new release of Ethereal, which is the crown chakra. So have a listen. And then my third album is Radiant Energy. So I have a whole series that is catered to the practice of going within. And some of you out there have your own personal practices, whether it's meditation, breath work, being in nature, whatever it may be. So I've created and designed music that's a soundtrack for your life experiences. And where I am located since 2020 is at Embody, Costa Rica. And I am underneath the Yogashala. And this is where I have my professional recording studio. And once upon a time, Hemele and I came to Costa Rica and we had a vision. Really, the vision had us. The land spoke to us. And we built this beautiful 2,000 square foot Yogashala. This is an image of a women's retreat. These are classes that we hold. Again, I'm underneath the teak flooring because you can see we're up in the trees and the beauty of Costa Rica. And if anyone out there wants to host a retreat, would like to come, you know, everyone deserves vacation out there. You've been going through a lot. So come on down, even if it's by yourself, with family, friends, and leading a group. We'd love to have you here. So what I'm excited is to share my promo photo of my recording studio, which I'm in right now. So have a look. Yes, that's an incredible song called Echoes in the Wild with incredible artists, Share the Light. And it's such a joy and thrill to have people fly into Costa Rica, be in my recording studio, the vocal booth, whether it's music, guided meditations, podcasts, audiobooks, all of it. So I just want to share that that's one of my ways to show up in the world. And I am about to bring on a guest today. And before I bring her on, we have an invitation for you. For the fall equinox, we will be offering the community of Putnam, Connecticut and surrounding areas a sound journey. And so we will bring Diana on one moment, but Diana will also be sharing her invitation, and so will I. Here's our promo video. Hello, beautiful soul. It's DTO. I invite you September 20th at 7 p.m. for a fall equinox sound journey, where Byron is guiding an extraordinary experience of yoga, sound healing, where I get to play my music for this journey that we all get to explore. Get your tickets now, and I can't wait to see you.
We are so excited to have DTO join us for a very special event on September 20th. I'm Diana Byron, and I'll be guiding you in this sound and movement journey. And DTO will be providing the live soundtrack to this experience, which is sure to be unforgettable. We hope you can join us.
Amazing. So I'm going to share with you about Diana. You can see her beautiful light, her radiance. So Diana is a Kirpala yoga teacher and meditation coach. She's also a herbalist and founder of Diana Yoga and Wellness. With over 3 decades of personal experience with meditation, she offers coaching for individuals who wish to deepen their practice and facilitates an online community called Women Who Meditate. So without further ado, let's bring on Diana, who is in her studio today. Nice to see you.
Hello, thank you. So happy to be here.
Absolutely. So great to have you. And as we know, today is our countdown roughly in about 3 weeks or less, I'll be able to celebrate the fall equinox with you and your community at our beautiful event that we've been planning, preparing. And so, a lot of people that are watching us, maybe they know you, maybe they know me. How did we meet? So, feel free to start off our podcast with a little backstory.
Sure. So we met last June at the Berkshire Yoga Festival, which was an amazing 4 days of not only workshops and entertainment and just yogic bliss in the Berkshires, but it served to bring together international artists like yourself and Himalaya with teachers and yoga practitioners like myself.
Yeah.
And this has started an amazing thing here, I think, for the Northeast, where we don't get a lot of yoga music artists out here. Typically, when we have live music in a yoga class, it's someone playing a drum or some singing bowls or maybe an acoustic guitar. So this is a real treat to have you coming and sharing your live music with us.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Andrew Tanner and Scott that really called in this incredible community from far and wide internationally. And I know that Andrew has known of Himalaya for many years. And so when Himalaya is like, hey, do you want to go to the Berkshire Yoga Festival? And, I'm a small town kid from Iowa. I'm like, where's the Berkshires? Well, it's like a kind of fancy place in Massachusetts, kind of like the Hamptons in New York. I'm like, okay, well, I love to share my music. And as you know, I've been really like this whole area that I'm in, this recording studio and the yoga shala. That's what we did during the pandemic. 2021, we bought this land and we built this entire retreat center. So we were really laser focused. And so 2025 has been a breakthrough year for me personally because I get to travel, I get to tour, and our retreat center is only 25 minutes from the airport. So it's really convenient to go on tour. And if anyone out there is a owner or visionary of a retreat center, you know that it's very seasonal. And especially in the tropics, you have the dry season, you have the rainy season. And so when it's tourist season, of course, I'm here on the land, honoring the path of people that come, that feel called. I drive the rickshaw, the tuk-tuk. I'm the tour guide. I take people, of course, on excursions to these beautiful places in nature to just refresh and realiven that connection with nature. And, when it's cold in Connecticut, come on down to Costa Rica. So I love that now I have this community that's growing in the New England states because I was in California for 2 decades. I was in San Diego, and now I've been in Costa Rica for 5 years. And I just love the East Coast energy of the people that came to the festival were really, leaders like yourself, like you run your own studio and that you have this deep-seated practice. And so today's interview is really going to get into that, like what your origin story is. And, these superhero movies have been very popular over the last few decades. And I like to say every superhero has an origin story. And so that's going to be our first question today. And we'll kick it off with origin story. So how did this whole journey of yoga wellness begin for you?
Well, for me, it started around age 19 when I had the amazing good fortune of studying with an enlightened Buddhist teacher. Rama was beyond anything I could possibly imagine as a spiritual teacher. And I feel so fortunate to have studied directly with him. And this enabled me to establish a very deep daily meditation practice, which, early on in my adult life, which has served me well throughout my life. And I went on to study different forms of yoga, practice different styles. I explored different forms of spirituality, like goddess spirituality, and became involved with women's groups and women's circles, and the idea of sisterhood, the idea of women coming together and supporting and helping each other has been a big part of my path as well. And it wasn't until I found Kripalu Yoga that I had found a style that really resonated with me. Yes, and this inspired me to become a teacher, which I'll talk about in a moment. But Kripalu, I guess the reasons why it really resonated with me, first off, It just felt very authentic and very true to the roots of yoga. And I began seeing results in my life, not just in my physical body, improvement in my health, but also mentally and emotionally, feeling more balanced and more centered. And after a while, I began noticing that Kripalu Yoga actually enhanced my meditation and allowed me to go deeper. I would go and take a morning yoga class and then come home and have a really high meditation. And so I sort of discovered by accident, something that I learned later on when I did my yoga teacher training, and that is that things like asana and pranayama, the yoga postures and the breath work, they serve as a means to prepare the body and mind for meditation. And so it was kind of funny that I experienced this firsthand without realizing it. So yeah, I got into yoga through meditation. And yes, once I discovered Kripalu Yoga, I found home basically. And so yes, after about 5 years of this, I decided to become a teacher. And another thing that Kripalu Yoga did for me, I think this was like one of the earliest benefits I started to see was in 2010, I became a mom. I had my daughter, who was another wonderful blessing in my life. And I ended up experiencing postpartum depression. And eventually, when I started, going to yoga regularly and to this Kripalu studio that was in my town at the time, and I started meditating again daily, I was able to lift myself out of that darkness. I had kind of lost my practice for a while. When you're a new mom, you're often sleep deprived. And so if I were to try to close my eyes to meditate at the time, I'd probably fall asleep. So there was really no meditating as a brand new mom, but eventually I was able to get back to my practice, and it helped heal my life and not only find myself, but start to find my best self and what that could look like.
Amazing. Yes, I love this. It's always an inside job, and that journey within just allows us to remember. And it's such a common thread that for the global yoga community, my role is to provide soundtrack experiences. And I love how your role is empowering women to go deeper into meditation. And thanks for authentically sharing what you went through after giving birth. And it almost allowed for this rebirth of what's possible in your life. And that leads us into the second part, which is the path of the teacher. So from this little girl, how did you then get into this whole adult body and expand into being a leader and opening up a yoga studio in Putnam? And I did find this awesome photo from your website, which shows there's a sign at the top. And yeah, I love it. It's so like wholesome and lovely. So how did it all begin from you on the mat, getting inspired to say, this isn't only for me to learn and grow as a student, but this is for me to share?
Right. So after about 5 years of solid practice with this style, I felt inspired to share it with others. I enjoyed those Kripalu classes so much that I wanted to recreate that experience for other people and be able to share this form of healing, which I say it all the time, yoga is a healer. It really does heal mind and body. And I really wanted to share that with others and enable others to heal as well through yoga. So I decided to take my 200-hour yoga teacher training at Kripalu Center in Western Mass in the Berkshires. And it was definitely one of the best experiences of my life. I absolutely loved my teacher training there. Even though it was very challenging at times, it was very enjoyable. And I got to spend 24 days living there on campus. And if you've never been, it's a beautiful center. They have retreats there. It's right in the Berkshire Mountains. It's a lovely place to stay and also to study yoga and Ayurveda and other things. So had a wonderful time, and I have some pictures. There's a picture of my graduating class from Kripalu. Yep, there we are. So many beautiful, happy souls, and a lot of us stay in touch actually to this day. Yep, that's my friend Anne, who's also yoga teacher. A lot of great memories, and of course, this is so. Swami Kripalu is the founder of this Kripalu Yoga Center, and this is a photo of his robe and his sandals that they have there at the center. And there's a quote at the top of, yeah, you can't really see it there, but it's at the top, and it's my favorite quote by Swami Kripalu, and it says, "The highest spiritual practice is self-observation without judgment." So think about that, right? Self-observation without judgment. You know, I feel like I can often get into a space where I'm non-judgmental of others, right? I can get into that space, but when it comes to myself, it's a little more tricky, right? We tend to be our own worst critics a lot of the time. And what I love about Kripalu Yoga is it's a lot about self-compassion. It's a very compassionate form of practice where you meet yourself where you're at in that moment, and just allow the asana and the breath work to work with you. And it's not so much about bending yourself into a pretzel or making your body take on a certain shape. It's more about how the asana and the pranayama make you feel, and how they heal you in the moment. And so I really love that about this form of yoga, and I think that's why it really resonates with me the most.
I love the quote so much. That really landed, because we have a mirror, right? Mirror, mirror on the wall. And then we have each other as mirrors. Right. And then the ultimate witnessing of our journey is to have that objective view of who we are choosing and what Spirit has called us to have as our path. And for us to stop the overthinking, because I feel like judgment comes from overthinking, which my favorite quote around that is, overthinking is the art of creating problems that wouldn't have existed in the first place. So the problem of self-deprecation, the problem of, damn it, I'm not good enough, or why did I do that, or I messed up again, or the classic no to the universe, when you can actually be in a space of allowing for that flow state to happen. And I love that the name of your studio in Sanskrit is meditation, right? It's going within ourselves and to release the thoughts that cloud us at times, and to go into the heart. And it's that quantum leap, right? It's such a small amount of space from our mind to our heart and our physical bodies, but it feels like it's so away. And I love the logo that you chose, because it is this ever blossoming energy field, and we get to grow. And a part of that growth, as you said, is from that quote of like releasing any self-judgment and just moving forward into our purpose. And so your purpose, of course, has been a teacher. And here's a beautiful photo of you guiding students. And I see here, we can get into the herbalist in one moment, but here's a great class. You said you tell us more about this photo.
So I got to teach yoga in Jamaica 1 year, a couple years ago. So that this was after a class on the beach. So much fun teaching on the beach. So that was a wonderful experience. I got to meet people from all over the world, and got to teach yoga in a beautiful place.
Amazing. I love that. And so when you're a teacher, of course, it's yoga, but I do want to now, as I introduced you in the bio in the setup here. So herbalism, share us about your passion. What is that all about?
Yes, so I'm a certified herbalist and I enjoy teaching workshops on making herbal medicine and just supporting your health naturally. And something I'm very passionate about, and it's a lot of fun. It allows me to interface with nature. Nature is also a big healer for me. And the herbal world is fascinating. The plant world has always fascinated me, and I enjoy sharing that with others as well, in helping others with their healing with the plants.
I have a green thumb, but only for the last 5 years, and that's because I live in Costa Rica. Prior, it wasn't my zone of genius. Yeah, it's fascinating because we have a whole like herb garden, farm to table. We have chefs when we have our retreat. We have lemongrass, we have oregano, we have turmeric, we even have different types of ginger, and it's incredible how much abundance nature provides and how disconnected all of us are from that abundance.
Right.
And that's what I love about your journey of, going to Jamaica to teach, going to this yoga festival in the Berkshires, which is at a ski resort. And it was just, you're out in nature and you're feeling connected. And, my path of being in Costa Rica. And I love to have in the morning, for example, have some mint, have some lemon, and we'll do some lemongrass. Himalaya is really into this lemongrass tea, but it's going outside and cultivating it and having the clippings and bringing it in. It's that whole like do it yourself, be connected with nature part. So I love that story for you because that's really key, because those people that don't know much about yoga, we can't make any assumptions. Yoga has a sister science, which is called Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is the diet, the nutrition. And I feel it's so interconnected with your passion for being an herbalist, because when people are on a health and wellness journey, it makes sense that they would say, oh, well, what kind of herbs can support cleansing, or what kind of herbs, maybe I have a headache. Is there a natural way? Or I've done a lot of, inner work and I'm really wanting to just release. So any advice around how herbs can be integrated into people's lives as far as some of those examples I shared?
Yeah, absolutely. It really depends on the person. That's my experience, because, if you're the type of person who will drink 2 to 4 cups of tea a day without a problem, then that's a great way to integrate herbs in your life, to just make it a little daily infusion and drink that. If you're not someone who likes to drink herbal tea, then there are other ways to get herbal medicine. You can make tinctures with it, which are extracts in things like alcohol or apple cider vinegar, that sort of thing. And other ways as well. Some people, they just want to take a pill, right? So just taking a supplement or a capsule, there's ways to powder herbs and put them in capsules. So it really depends on the person and how they're going to actually take the herbs. And sometimes it's just a matter of eating them and incorporating them into your diet. Food is medicine. I'm a big believer of that. So
I love that. So with these multidimensional ways that you've been creating your life and your path, the question that a lot of viewers love is, what's your creative process? Because I believe we're always the student and the teacher within. So for you, you could have stayed the student and learn. And we're always learning, of course, but maybe you didn't activate that avatar of becoming the teacher and becoming the guide. And so some of us, I feel, all it would take would be a moment of choice, right? Like, how am I going to open up this yoga studio? How am I going to be able to share and teach globally, internationally? And what's powerful, I feel, is when people have a little insight of what are your techniques and routines and rituals that allow for you to just remember who you are and be in the zone, or as we call it, the flow state. And I know that's really important. That's exactly what it means. So tell us about your creative process.
Yeah, so I guess my creative process comes into play mostly when I'm designing my classes. And I teach both group classes as well as privates with individuals who maybe have needs that aren't met in a group class. Sometimes we'll be in a chair doing yoga, depending on their flexibility and mobility. But I tend to teach to who's in front of me. So I'll design the class. So if I have a private client, I will design the class specifically for them based on their abilities, their needs, any goals they might have. Uh, so that's where I get creative, and I can, even in the moment, even when they're in front of me, I might get inspired to offer something that could be helpful to them. So it's this wonderful sort of intuitive process that I get to have with my students in these moments. So I like to create really healing and transformational classes and workshops. I like to have good music. I think that is key to a lot of my classes. So having a really excellent playlist can make a big difference. And just setting the tone, like preparing the space ahead of time. I have a whole sort of ritual that I go through before each class, before each client, with cleansing and just preparing the studio, preparing myself. The most important thing, I think, in preparing myself is having a strong personal practice. And when that's in play, then I'm in a better place to then serve others. So that's important to me in my process.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. I love that because I love the behind the scenes, the PTS, and how does that preparation happen? For athletes, they always say champions are made in the off season. And for yogis and yoginis, yoga is a 24/7 lifestyle. So off the mat, on the mat, in front of your students and members and your communities teaching, and then what did it take to get there? So I love that there's this mind, body, spirit, the flow state. And it's really powerful because when people understand that, then there's that inspiration of, oh, maybe I get to just take 3 deep breaths before my first meeting of the day or before my first conversation. Just go into that. Like just simple, my number one song streaming is breath, so when people ask me, what do I think about breath work? Well, it doesn't have to be work. Number one, let's start with that. And you just go into that flow state. And then from there, you get a connection to the outside world, right? Because when you're bringing in oxygen, you're bringing in breath. And so I love your passion for meditation because when you're in that state, and I love that you support artists and music and those frequencies and sounds that can really remind people, just gets people in that state of connection to themselves. It's really powerful. So thank you for sharing about your creative process. I know a lot of people always love to hear that, especially those that are out there. And remember, this is a live streaming podcast. So if you want to comment, ask question, or share, always just drop an emoji is fun because those algorithms are hungry. And just like our soul is hungry, we want to move forward and be on our path and live a full life. Okay, so once you've gotten that creative process and you're teaching, the next piece is always the impact. So question 4 is, how are community members responding to you having your studio and your practice?
The response has been amazing. We have a beautiful little community here at Dhyana Yoga, and I get a lot of enjoyment from just seeing the healing and transformation happening in front of me. So, people are really stressed out right now. There's a lot going on in the world, and people are dealing with a lot of stress. And so, they'll come into my classes. Someone might come in and they're coming off of a really stressful day, but they'll leave feeling relaxed and centered and even a little energized to be able to enjoy the rest of their day or evening. And so seeing that happen right in front of me is just priceless. I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. And I feel like, my work is done. I've helped to, you know, maybe reset their nervous system and take them out of that fight or flight mode that they've been in all day, and give them a little bit of space to breathe.
Yes. I always remind us that we have 4 stages of communication, right? We have the sender, like right now, DTO, I'm the sender. Then we have the message, which right now is a verbal message with my words. Then we have the receiver, which is you, Diana, as well as whomever is listening. Then the last piece is the super important part, which is feedback. And that's why this question above, response, really can enrich a part of our process of being a teacher, of choosing the path. Because as a teacher, there's conversations we have like, all right, how am I going to create a flow sequence that can really land with people? How am I going to match the energy? As you said, there's stress, there's anxiety, there's just crunchy energy. So bringing in that piece, I feel, is really powerful. And for the responses that you've had, sounds really wonderful, because everyone deserves to have well-being. And if you're in your being and you're feeling well, and you also go deep into the well spring of who we are through your guidance, there's so much that can emerge. I know right now a lot of people in our communities use the word download. Like, I got a download. It came from like the ethers. I came from some planet or the stars or the moon. I am really clear recently that there's this inner wisdom that comes from us, our pure divine being, that can come through. So it's both, right? We can feel the collective consciousness of communities and what's going on globally, especially now because we have a screen everywhere, right? And how do we absorb all that? And then how do we remember that part within? And I feel it's a combination. It's like an upload and a download. It's like there's all this that can happen at the same time. And then when you get community, now you have a multi-layered series of like star seeds of people that are wanting to activate and light up and get inspired to breathe and to be in the world in a way that creates that flow state, which of course is dhyana in Sanskrit. Love it so much.
Yeah, when I first came across that word, you know, it's one of the 8 limbs of yoga, right? It's the flow state that you talk about, right? That flow state in meditation. And of course, artists and even athletes experience this flow state at times, right? When they're immersed in their work or their art, when there's nothing else but that, you're in the flow state. So it also ties into the creative processes. So yeah, and it's a little bit of a play on my name, which is another reason why I chose that. You know, my name is Diana, but my family's Italian, and so they pronounce it Diana. And so when I came across that word, it had a lot of different meanings for me and connections for me. You know, meditation being a big part of my life, and then also being a sort of a play on my name. So I thought that'd be a great name for a yoga studio.
And I love your tagline, a sanctuary for body, mind, and spirit.
Yes, that was my goal, is to make this a sanctuary for body, mind, and spirit. So people can come in, and no matter what kind of day they've had, they can leave feeling completely centered, relaxed, and in a much happier state.
Yes. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Like, may we all have peace. And it's our birthright. So I appreciate you creating that sanctuary. And we're going to be creating a sonic sanctuary, because we have a sound journey to celebrate the fall equinox. And this is a special event that will be on September 20th, 2025. The time to thrive. So feel free to share about the event.
Sure thing. So it's our fall equinox sound journey happening right before the equinox. So of course, the equinox is a time of equal day and night. So there's a theme of balance there that we can tap into. And through movement and music and mindfulness, we will aim to seek that balance within ourselves. You know, the fall is a time of transitions, a time of changes. it could be a stressful time. So this is an opportunity to find that equilibrium in a beautiful group setting with some amazing live music. So we'll, there's no yoga experience required for this. It's actually more of a movement experience, but we'll do some yogic movements and postures and breath work, and also some prana exploration, where we allow our own life force energy to move the body. So that can be very energizing and liberating. And it'll be a little bit dancey, but we'll also have chairs set up so people can take a seat at any time. And even if you just want to sit and listen to the music and feel the energy, that's fine too. So all are welcome to this event happening at the Block 134 Arts and Wellness Collective in Putnam at 134 Main Street. And again, that's September 20th at 7 p.m. Oh, and there's going to be a sound bath at the end. Let's not forget that.
Yes. And if you're on the book, The Face, check it out. You can go to the Facebook event page. I will share that in the show notes. So anyone would like to go, and naturally, you can come and check out DianaYogaandWellness.com, where you can sign up, and there is pre-sale as well as day of. So we encourage you to come and, bring in guests, bring in friends, family. And for some of you that have heard my music before, maybe you've heard my music, but you haven't yet actually had an experience with Diana guiding and with the sound bath. And yeah, there's such a beauty that comes when there's that synergy and that collective energy from both of us. And I'm super grateful because, as you mentioned, the equinox, it's a powerful, auspicious time to really connect and reflect. Okay, so we are at the part of the show called Closing Words, where you get to share whatever's on your heart and for people to listen to your wisdom and any invitations.
Yeah, so I guess if I had to share some words of wisdom or advice, I would say to help each other, help others as much as you can. DTO, you are a huge example of this, the way that you uplift others in your own process. And it's beautiful and amazing and very powerful. So I'm grateful to you for having me here, allowing me to share my story and talk about my studio and my path. And really looking forward to collaborating with you on the 20th as well.
Absolutely. I have this mathematical equation that's always in my mind, which is 1 + 1 = infinity. Because when there's that synergy, then anything's possible. Because when the flow state can happen, not only with, the shapes we make with our body and the guidance and the sequencing, but then when there's the music and your energy and the intentions of the equinox, it's going to be such a powerful experience. So we welcome everyone to come for the Fall Equinox Sound Journey. Thank you so much for Diana to be here to share about your story, your origin story of how you went from teaching and now doing festivals and now doing special events and teaching in different parts of the world. So that really is a representative of the blossoming effect, right? Of the sanctuary of body, mind, and spirit. And I can't wait to have this event and this experience. And, for this leg of the tour in September, you'll be the first location in the New England states that I'll be at. So it's really fun and truly it's the first yoga studio I've ever been in. You and I met at the Berkshire Yoga Festival, but I have yet on the East Coast play an actual studio space. So this will be my inauguration. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Yeah. First time in Connecticut, right? So
first time in Connecticut. Yes.
Okay.
I just remember Connecticut from playing Monopoly, right? There's Amazing. Well, thanks again for your light and your presence and your energy and all your contributions. Thanks for your own personal dedication as we see you here on the mat, and to have that focus and commitment to your studio, making an impact in people's lives. And thank you everyone that was able to be here to listen and to feel what we are creating collectively in the world, which is an opportunity for people to go within and for meditation to take place, and truly for community members to come together and get to witness each other and feel the love, and as you said, the kindness that we get to share and exude with one another. So thank you, everyone. I will close with our video to invite you in. Hope to see you on September 20th. Thanks again, Diana.
Thank you.
Hello, beautiful soul. It's DTO. I invite you September 20th at 7 p.m. for a fall equinox sound journey, where Diana Byron is guiding an extraordinary experience of yoga, sound healing, where I get to play my music for this journey that we all get to explore. Get your tickets now, and I can't wait to see you.
We are so excited to have DTO join us for a very special event on September 20th. I'm Diana Byron, and I'll be guiding you in this sound and movement journey. And DTO will be providing the live soundtrack to this experience, which is sure to be unforgettable. We hope you can join us.